Rob, let's go to college football. And Nick Saban, who we know just retired.
And what do we say when he retired, Chris? He don't like the what's going on in football.
Yeah. No, he obviously had accomplished about everything he wanted to. But, yeah, I think, and Rob, we just saw, was it a coach from USC who I think was USC?
UCLA.
UCLA turned down an offensive coordinator job in college to go be a running backs coach. Oh, you're talking about a different
I was thinking, yeah. Who are you talking about?
But there was a coach recently who turned down an OC job in college to go be just a running backs coach with Jim Harbaugh with the Chargers. And a lot of these guys, Rob, are talking about how they just don't like the new landscape of college football.
I was thinking of Chip Kelly, right, with UCLA, right?
Yeah, Chip
gave up his head coaching job, right?
Right, to just be an assistant in the NFL. But they're complaining they don't like the new landscape, the NIL, it's the Wild Wild West, the transfer portal, and all that. Here's what Saban said. He said a lot, but I'll just read this one quote, and then we want to hear what you think about this, Rob. He says, "If my voice can bring about some meaningful change, I want to help any way I can because I love the players and I love college football. What we have now is not college football. Not college football as we know it. You hear somebody use the word student athlete, that doesn't exist." So he says a little more, but what are your thoughts on this, Rob?
I think Nick Saban is the biggest hypocrite going because it hasn't been college football, Chris, in a long time with all the money that the schools make off of it and the travel and all the other stuff they ask the kids to do. It's a full-time job playing major college football. You can say whatever you want. They haven't been student athletes in a long time, Chris. And Nick Saban never turned down the money and said, you know what, I want to play. What's the top scale for a professor at the university, Chris? That's what he should be making, right? The top scale
He's the
of a professor.
Person in the
These guys kill me with that.
Yeah.
It's hypocrisy. What he doesn't like, Chris, is simple. What he didn't like and why he wanted to quit is he doesn't have those scholarships and that control in their back pocket. The college coaches could walk out on the kids on a drop of a dime, Chris, right before the bowl game, right? Because they got a new job. And now the kids could walk out when they're mistreated or they're not being played or their futures aren't in play, Chris. Yeah. I don't get it. And you know what? Yes, it is the Wild Wild West. When the people left the East Coast and went out to the West, Chris, and covered wagons to try to settle new worlds, it was the Wild West, and you had to figure it out. Guess what? It became a piece of the United States, and everything else worked out in time. Nothing is going to – you're changing the system. You think it's supposed to be all buttoned up, Chris, in a year or two? It can't be buttoned up in a year or two. It will work itself out. It always does. This is new for everybody. But to stymie the kids and try to go back to where I'm sorry, the toothpaste is out of the tube.
And he said, now he maybe he's just saying this, but he did say he don't mind the players getting paid. He just thinks the way it's being done is off. But go ahead.
I can't get with it, Chris. Those kids were taken advantage of for a long time. We live in a free market system, and the same thing. What is that? What is the name of the video game company? EA? Is it EA Sports?
EA Sports.
Chris, you see what they're offering the kids for the video game likeness? Did you see that?
Now, no. What?
$600, Chris, and a free game.
Now?
Yeah, that's what the offer is for them to sign up. $600.
Athletes?
Yes, college football.
What do they think? Why do they think they're gonna get players with that?
I have no idea.
The players can get so much more money elsewhere.
But 600, like, think about how many millions they make, Chris, and they want the kids to sign over their rights for $600 in a game.
Yeah, look, we all know that college football has been pro football for a long time. A long time. All right. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And so we both have been on the record as saying the players should get paid. So and if Saban wants to turn that clock back, then he's sorely mistaken. but I'm not sure that's what he wants. But they do need to fix the way it's done. Because, Rob, it's like we talked about it with basketball. We don't know. There's no continuity from year to year. We don't know what players are playing. We don't know what teams, who their top players are from year to year. So now college basketball has really declined in popularity, and all people really care about is the March Madness, and that's just because of the gambling. And so if football continues where guys are transferring all the time and all of that stuff, then it could see a decline. So I do think they need to fix it, but they just got to find the right way. And look, part of the problem, Rob, is that the NCAA has been so stingy and greedy. Because the NCAA, Rob, didn't fix it.
They're not giving up any money, Chris.
They're not the ones paying now.
They're not giving the kids money. This is what I'm trying to say. It's like you guys refuse to cut the players in. They're the product. You won't even cut them in.
Remember a few years ago when the players from Northwestern
tried to unionize?
It was Northwestern, right?
It was Northwestern.
If they had done something like that or made a compromise and the NCAA played ball, then you wouldn't have the quote-unquote Wild Wild West right now.
Nope. They could have easily fixed it.
Right. Because they wouldn't play ball, now you got the NIL deals and it's every man for himself and these corporations. And obviously you have, collectives. That's the schools trying to, make sure they can still get the best kids. But they need to figure something out, Rob. And I don't have all the answers to it. I like that the kids can get paid, but I do think, the kids should have some form of freedom because they decide to go to a college based on the head coach in many cases, and then he can leave and now they're stuck. So, but they need to get some of that under control, but really the pay, I don't know if it's, I've talked about, I think eventually it's heading to where it's more like an NFL system. And they've got, whether it's 2 big conferences and then divisions within those like the NFL has, or 4 conferences and then a playoff system, right? We know we're going to 12 teams. There was talk now about 14 teams. Who has 14 teams? The NFL. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You have your top 50, 60 schools, whatever the realistic number of those that have a chance to win it, or at least, our Power 5 teams. And the top teams in the country, those 50 or 60 are at the top level and they're divided into conferences. And then a certain number make the playoffs. That's how it should be done. And then, Rob, it would take you would need an independent committee, Rob, to be a part of this. Because I wouldn't trust the NCAA. I would not trust them to handle the money and divvy out what they really should to these players.
I'm with you, Chris, because there'll be some monkey business.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
And the challenge is this. Let's say that happened. There was an independent committee and all the money that, it's given to the NCAA or the schools or whatever, this committee, and then divvied out fairly among the top players and the top schools and all of that. Rob, you and I know this. There probably still would be the boosters coming along from Alabama or LSU or whatever school they're trying to get the kids to that would give them a little more. Am I right? Right?
100%.
That's the thing. So don't just jump on the kids when it's these adults doing a lot of the dirty work. So
I'm with you. And their history, Chris, is not a good one for us to believe that will be real change. Why would we believe that?
Yeah, and again, I think it boils down to if they were above board and really want to be fair with the kids, then they wouldn't have this Wild Wild West situation that they have now. And maybe this will wake them up and they will be fair. But until then, it's going to be, it might get chaotic. It already is to some degree.